So what I'm doing today is push rod tube seals on cylinder 1 and 2. I've already taken the valve cover gasket and the valve cover off. This motor's been sitting for a little while, and it's hard to tell from the way by looking underneath here, but we're just not sure about these seals. So we're just going to go ahead and change them and clean up everything. Take this thermostat off, clean it up, get it all ready to go again. And you can probably tell that this is missing the deflector tin that's supposed to go underneath here. So we were able to get a new deflector tin that somebody had already painted and powder coated. That way we have optimized cooling for this engine. So in order to do this, you have to take off the rocker arm assemblies and the little wire clip right here that holds push rod tubes down. These are 11 bolts, 11 millimeter bolts, and you have to work them out gently. So you do one, then the other, then one, then the other. And they're telescopic, so once you take them off, they want to spread apart. So I've laid out a paper towel and some stuff to keep these together, and I try to keep everything in the same flow. So whatever came off intake and exhaust on cylinder 2 will go back in the same place. That way there's no questioning about it. And I'll give a few more tips as I go through this. But it was a pretty simple job when I did on the other side yesterday. A couple hours if you take your time, clean things up. And, if this happened to be in a vehicle, you could do it as well there. Might be a little harder, but that's pretty much what I got so far. I'll get some video when I'm taking off the push rod tubes. Alright, so I've gone ahead and taken the rocker arm assemblies off and was just kind of checking the cylinder head, because you want to make sure that there's no cracks or anything where the cylinder head's attached to the studs on the jugs themselves, and you want to just kind of do a visual inspection, make sure there's no problems here. Again, these come off pretty easily. You just want to make sure that when you do take the assemblies off, they don't pull apart, because there's a couple washes in there and the springs are together. They will spread out, but just make sure you can remember which way they go back in together, or you get the Bentley manual. Taking the push rods out in the order that they go back in. That way I don't forget. And now is kind of the part where I think people have questions. Well, how do I now get the push rod tubes out from the case and all that? So I'm going to try and get some good video here. This might be a little tough. I gotta find the right angle. That way you guys know what I'm talking about when I'm doing this. It's hard because this exhaust valve, the exhaust is in the way. What's the best way to do this? Looks like right here. So I did this yesterday just by using these pair of vice grips, because you just want to go around them. You don't want to pinch them closed or really crunch down on them. You just want to be able to grab them. You twist them a little bit and then you pull out. So let's just see. I'm going to do this so you can see it, and without me knocking over everything. Let's see here. There we go. That might work. We'll see how this goes. So I'm just going to take out this first one. It might take a second to kind of grab so you can see. I'm just going to barely and lightly grab onto the tube itself. And then all I did yesterday was kind of twist it loose, and you can kind of hear it go crunch because these seals are pretty dry. And then you just want to work it back towards you and pull a little bit, and they'll come out. Whoops. I'll make sure you get the full effect here. This is only moving because I'm moving. So once you do that, you can get your... I've seen it done online a couple different ways where people are using actual vice grips. And then, so now we just heard it pop out of the case, and now the trick is, without squeezing it too much, pulling it forward. And oh, you can see this seal actually, there's some junk in here. But this is a pretty dirty procedure. You want to try not to get any dirt from, in there on the cylinder where that is going to seep back in it. And you can kind of see that, these are pretty cruddy. Upon visual inspection yesterday, you can kind of notice that the top lips of these things aren't so great. But again, I just take them out. I take these old ones off, spray them down with some Purple Power, brake cleaner, and they look good as new. Okay, I finally was able to get everything cleaned up. I put the deflector tin that was missing back on, so we'll be able to cool this thing a lot better now and not worry so much about all that missing tin. It was kind of a pain to get on there because I got big hands and those screws are so small, but it's worth a little bit of trouble. I've cleaned out all the areas where the tubes will go in, even way down there on the other end on the case side. You gotta be careful because there is a lot of dirt in there, and you don't want to get any on the inside of the case. And I used a lot of rags and a lot of paper towels to get that cleaned up. The second part was I have cleaned the push rod tubes, again with some Purple Power and brake cleaner, and just kind of let them sit outside and dry off a little bit. It was really quick. And so you can probably see I got my push rod tube seals on the right hand side. The green ones go on the fat end and the black ones go in the case. And you kind of notice I got this 21 millimeter socket with the extension on it, and that's going to help me tap those into the case. The other part is I got a little cap full of engine oil to help lube up these seals. That way they're not going in dry. You don't want to put them in dry. We make a lot of jokes about lubing these things up before we put them in, and spitting on them isn't going to do the trick here. So I put a little bit of oil on each end, and you'll see me tap them in into each one respectively. And this is the part where a lot of people also have questions, taking them in and then, or taking them out and then putting them back in. I guess the only real way to figure it out is to do it yourself. So hope this helps. This is how I did both sides, and it'll definitely go pretty easy. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else besides this. I'll try to set this up so you can see it really well. It's gonna be tough. I might have to stop here for a second and turn it back on. All right, this might be the best angle I can get. I envy all you guys who have real workshops and stuff like this, but someday I'll have my own shop and be able to do this without a problem. So I'm gonna put the seals on, and then you'll see me tap them in. This is probably the easiest part after getting all the deflector tin on and all that, because that was pretty tough. So I'm just gonna put a little oil on these. It's actually I was thinking about this yesterday. It's like the middle of February, and I got the garage doors open. It's probably like in the high 30s, and actually that might be helping me out because these seals have really become they've shrunk down a lot, so I don't have to worry about them expanding in the heat. If I was doing this in June, they'd be a lot more pliable, and I might actually be fighting the rubber here. All right, so I got my hammer, got everything ready to go. I'll try tapping this first one in, and hopefully you guys can see this without wondering what the heck is he doing. You just want to make sure you don't get any dirt in there. And I like to push them in a little bit with my hand. And now I'll just put my extension on there, and you'll hear the difference when I tap it as far as it's being in there and totally seated and when it's not. And you probably saw it popped in, and it looks like we're good to go. Nothing's nothing backed out, and so I'll just keep doing that. I'll do it one more time on this last one. It might be the last one you can see, as far as that goes, because you know, the smaller O-rings are black. They go in the engine case, and then the green ones, they go on the fat end on the head side, and lube them up, tap them in. Hopefully this video helps solve some questions for you. Again, don't be worried about doing it. Get out there and do it, because really, if you have any problems, you're going to know down the road why it's doing what it's doing. And if you happen to notice a lot of excessive oil leaking from the push rod tubes, more or less, it's easier to blame yourself than somebody else who did it for you, because you know what you did and you'll have the previous knowledge to do it again. And there's no shame in going back and doing it a second time if you didn't get it right the first time. So I'm just watching it on the case side, making sure it goes in. Hopefully you saw that one pop in, but I got two ready to go, and this thing should be all sealed up. All right, I've finished the job here. I just put the rocker arm back on and torqued the rocker arm assemblies back down to 10 foot-pounds. That's all it requires, not a whole lot. You gotta think about heat expansion and what that multiplies to be. So torque those down and make sure that those wire clips are pushing down nice and even on the push rod tubes. They're not bound up anywhere. That way you don't have any problems down the long run. And should be good to go. Still got a lot of other stuff to do with this engine. So I hope this helped and answered a lot of questions.